What is up, Online Empire Academy? This is Dean Soto once again coming to you to talk about some things that I think are super important to every online entrepreneur, whether you're selling on Amazon or whether you're, say consulting online, marketing online, whatever it might be. We are going to talk today, and forgive my writing, but this is the way it goes. We're going to talk today about cash flow. Okay? Bam. Cash flow. Now, I know it's probably not the most exciting thing. It is if you're getting a lot of cash flow. But, a lot of our Online Empire Academy guys are Amazon sellers. And one thing I hear all the time, I get it from people who have been with us for years, and unfortunately it's something that I hear very often, is I got suspended from Amazon. My whole entire account got terminated, and I'm not sure what to do. Can you help me with, finding another way of fixing that and getting back in the game where I can start generating money? And in fact, I'm going to give you just one really quick example of why I think this is so important. I had an Online Empire Academy student who had been there since the beginning. I want to say it was 4 or 5 years ago. And they learned how to sell on Amazon through us and was doing just absolutely amazing. And I think it was about a year ago, they had been doing Amazon. Amazon was paying for everything that they were doing within their family. I had just talked to the student as I was walking to the coffee shop about just moving into different things other than Amazon. But he decided to stick with what he was doing, especially with retail arbitrage. That was kind of his main bread and butter. He decided to stick with what he was doing. And lo and behold, wham, he got smacked down with the old suspension. The old Amazon suspension, mainly through retail arbitrage, right? Anyone who's been selling on Amazon, that is one that Amazon will get you with. So he got suspended predominantly for inauthentic, it's hard to say, authentic items. And the problem with those is that with Amazon, you have to have an invoice for those. You have to be able to prove that they are authentic, that you got them from a supplier. And it's just, when you're doing retail arbitrage, you can't do that. You have a receipt. That's it. You have a receipt coming from a store, but Amazon doesn't know if that store got it from somewhere else. And so generally Amazon will say, no, you're not getting your account back. We're suspending you. You're done. And that's not a good thing, right? It's one of the reasons why I teach dropshipping, because you're working specifically with suppliers. You're working with the actual supplier or the actual manufacturer. And you have invoices that you can just send to Amazon if anything like this were to happen. Okay. So those suspensions can be killer, right? And especially if you're doing retail arbitrage. A lot of people, I've probably have 4 or 5 different Online Empire Academy students who refused to go and move toward the drop shipping and the wholesale side of things, or even the private label side of things. And they decided to stick with what they were doing, and they got suspended. Now, that's not necessarily a problem, right? That's not necessarily a problem unless you have all of your eggs in one basket, right? So if you have multiple eggs those are eggs right there, in different baskets, you might have smaller baskets over here. That looks like a person. I can't draw worth a dang, whatever. But if you have multiple baskets, right, with different things that allow you to make income, whether it's passive or not passive, allow you to make income, an Amazon suspension is not going to kill you. If my drop shipping business stopped, it's not going to kill me. Okay. If my Merch by Amazon business stopped, it's not going to kill me. If my social lending business stopped. It's not going to kill me. My consulting business, and none of that's going to kill me unless they all stopped at once. So one big part of all of this, especially for Amazon sellers, is not having all your eggs in one basket. Okay. And I know it's hard. Amazon is so easy. Amazon is so easy to make money on. And a lot of us just think that, it's just going to be there. It's going to be there for a long time. And it might not be the case. And so what do you do? What do you do in that case when you are on the Amazon train and maybe you're doing retail arbitrage or wholesale or even drop shipping or whatever it might be? What do you do to keep you and your family safe? What do you do to keep the cash flow safe? When there, you never know because it is not your platform, right? You never know what is going to happen. And so what I always tell people is you want to treat Amazon as a cash flow generator that leads to other investments, okay? Other investments. And now I'm not talking about, when people think about investments, they think, they think of things like 401k or IRA or long-term investments that are going to give you 5% per year or 2% per year or 1% per year or whatever, right? That is not what we're talking about here. We're talking about cash flow investments, ones that bring you cash flow back. And this is where a lot of people get mixed up. I always tell people when I'm doing my coaching calls for Dream Dropshipping, I always tell them, especially for the people who are saying, I want to quit my job. You can totally do that. You can get to the point. In fact, we have some students recently who left their job because they or in the process of leaving their job at the time of recording this because they are making enough cash flow. But I always tell them, man, I wish I didn't leave my aerospace business when I did. Even though it was a good decision, it still could have been an even better decision if I had my side business going on, which it was at the time, it was going really, really well. And then had my full-time income at the same time and use that to put that money that I was getting into cash flow investments. And so what are cash flow investments? Let's see if I can erase all of this. So cash flow investments. These are investments that bring you cash flow every month. So let me get rid of this. Try this again without getting rid of my stuff. That bring you money every month. So a lot of people don't focus on cash flow, especially Amazon folk. We focus on, how much money are we bringing in? And is that, it literally is, I brought in $30,000 this month. I brought in $10,000 this month, $5,000 this month. And then what do we do? We go and buy more product with it. Or we go and buy whatever we want. We go and take a nice, awesome vacation. Or we just blow the money just in general on whatever we like to blow it on. Well, the thing is that if we're going to do that, you have to realize that with cash flow, with doing that, you are killing your potential cash flow. So with $30,000 a month, actually, before I get into that, what is the importance of cash flow? I should say, what are we trying to do? We are trying to build monthly sustainable cash flow. Because at the end of the day, at the end of the day, it does not matter. It does not matter how much you make in 1 month. Okay, I can make 100. I do product launches, and sometimes I'll make $65,000. I'll make $100,000. I'll make $10,000. I'll make it varies depending on what I make. But guess what? That's next month. I have to do it all over again if I'm solely relying on those product launches. Okay, so we want to get to the point, as Amazon sellers, as online entrepreneurs, as online consultants, marketers, things like that, we want to get to the point where our monthly cash flow, and I really want it to be monthly passive cash flow, is greater than our expenses every month. Okay? Why do we want that? Because what happens is, if I can generate enough every month, to be more than the expenses that I have, then I'm not going to be in a stressful situation ever. Okay, when it comes to finances, I'm always going to be able to meet my expenses, all of my obligations that I have, and I'm always going to be able to rely, for the most part. I mean, anything can happen, but I'm always going to be able to know that next month, the month after that, the month after that, I'm not scrounging every month trying to come up with that cash to be able to pay my expenses, whether it's coming up with $100,000 or the next month coming up with $10. Okay. So how do we do that? There's different types of cash flow assets. Okay. Different types of cash flow assets. And the ones that I'm talking about are the ones that, in my opinion, are the more easy ones, the ones that are that most people can do, rather than kind of like rather than getting into all the crazy financial stuff that you can that is out there. All right, if a dummy like me can do it, if a caveman like me can do it, anyone can do it. Okay, so I'm talking about the kind of cash flow I'm talking about, cash flow assets I'm talking about are things like social lending. Okay, social lending. You want to be very careful with this, but if you do it the right way, it can bring in a lot of cash flow. So, for example, I might put in $20,000 of my principal, okay, of my money into lending a whole bunch of different promissory notes, lending a whole bunch of different of money to different people. So my promissory notes might be $25 each, might be $50, might be $100, whatever it might be. So when I personally, because I personally do this, when I personally lend out $20,000, I can generally expect around $640 back every month for a 36 month note. Okay, let me put that in parentheses for a 36-month note. So that means if I have an amazing month with my Amazon business, and I did $20,000. Dropshipping, I don't have to go and buy more stuff. I can say, well, I did $20,000 on my Amazon business, and then I did enough in my other businesses to make up for the rest. I could invest $20,000 into a 36-month note and know that I'm going to get back every month $640. Okay, and if I know that my monthly expenses are, say, $40,000. Oops, let me go over here. $40,000. to say it, or sorry, 40,000. I wish it was, I'm not that rich. If $4,000, if it's $4,000 to meet my expenses, I now know that I don't have to worry about that $640 the next month, the next month, the next month. Eventually it starts dwindling down because people pay off their loans and stuff eventually. Okay. But for the most part, I'm only going to be worrying about like 3,000, what am I doing? 360 dollars, if my math is correct, which I'm not good at math, but whatever. And if I'm not good at math and I'm an entrepreneur, you can be too. Okay, so I only have to worry about that every month. So I've dropped down from 4,000 on. So the more I do that, the more that I can meet my monthly expenses every month by doing that. Okay, and that's not counting. That's generally what you get back in principal and interest. Okay. Another way, and I'm not going exhaustively into this. You need to be careful doing any of these investments. I'm just kind of giving you the concepts. Okay. So another way is through one of my favorites, real estate. I have someone who I buy my investment real estate through, and it does really, really well. I love it. It's a great way for getting passive income. And what happens in this case is, say you buy a house for say $100,000 in like St. Louis or something like that. So I have houses throughout the United States, but let's say we do it in St. Louis. So you buy a $100,000 house, but you're putting down, because you're putting 25% down after fees and everything. After fees and everything, you're probably going to be putting down around $25,000, $26,000. We'll just say $25,000. So it's very similar to this, right? And generally, what's going to happen is every month you are going to get back, hopefully around 200 to 250 every month. Okay. All right. For as long as you own that house. And then as inflation goes up, your rents go up and so on. So you'll end up making more money. It might not be as, you won't have the same you'll have the same buying power, but with more money. If that makes sense. Anyway, it's a good hedge against inflation. Now, the thing with this is that say you bought that house was for $100,000. Well, even though you put $25,000 into it, you also get the tax advantage. You get tax deductions. For the entire, now this is simplistic and this is not tax advice, okay? This is just my opinion and yada, 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 okay? This is just advice, okay? I'm not a CPA. I don't claim to be, whatever. But for the entire 100,000, so you can depreciate whatever the United States government lets you depreciate of that $100,000. Okay, so not only are you're paying into the principal of the house for 25% at $25,000, you get to deduct up to $100,000 of depreciation, and then on top of that, the property tax, and then the insurance and so on. Because if it's part of your business, if this is part of your real estate business that you end up starting to build, you can start deducting things for that as well. Okay, I'm not a tax guy, but there's a lot of awesome tax people out there that know this. So you're almost able to say you're doing $200,000, $300,000 already in your Amazon business and you're owing the government a ton of money. You're at the 45% tax bracket, or 45% tax bracket. You can start buying houses and bring that what you would normally pay in taxes to the government. You can start buying houses, right? And writing off a lot of that depreciation that you couldn't beforehand, right? Because you're not buying any assets for it. You're not doing anything that has a tax advantage other than your Amazon business. Okay, so that's the other benefit of that. The other benefit is once paid off, and if you put your money, your Amazon, if you put the rents back into the house and your Amazon business or your online business or consulting business, marketing business, back into the house, back into the house. That says back into the house. Once you put that back into the house, guess what? Now you get to, usually it's double, more than double, depending on what it is, double, triple, or quadruple what you're earning. So for me, I earn with my houses, I'm still buying some of them right now, but at the end of the day, I'll be earning around $2,000 from, so right now I earn about $800. So I have a few houses, $800 a month, which doesn't sound that great, but it's great tax advantage already. So I'm using that tax advantage to buy more houses. At the end of the day, I'll be at around $2,000, which my monthly expenses are only around $4,000. I also have about $2,000 coming back from social lending. So that's already meeting my expenses. If I were to not have my business, if I were to just stop, I'm already meeting my expenses. Okay. But once those houses are paid off, because I'm constantly rolling my money back into the houses and into the social lending and everything like that, I'm moving that to the point where those houses, once they're paid off, guess what? I'll be at around $5,000 a month. Okay. Between $4,000 and $5,000 a month just from the houses alone. And it doesn't take that long to pay them off if you keep on rolling stuff back into them. Okay. Another one is, and we'll just stop at this next one. We can talk about this. If you find this interesting, let me know in the comments. We can talk a lot more about this stuff. And so here in this last one is dividend stocks. Dividend stocks. Oops. Okay. These are stocks that you're not trying to go after appreciation. You don't necessarily care if they go up or down. Okay. You kind of do a little bit, but you don't necessarily care. These are ones that give you, pay you every month or quarter. Sometimes it's quarter. Often it's quarter or yearly. They literally just pay you. They pay you whatever. I'll probably move that yearly up here. They pay you money, real money, whenever those happen. And I was doing this for a while before I started doing social lending. I'll probably end up getting back into dividend stocks. I have a couple that I want to jump into after I settle all my houses and everything like that. But I had 3 dividend stocks, and they were paying for one of my timeshares every quarter. So my timeshare was like 200 and something, and I was getting about $400 every quarter from these dividend stocks, which was kind of cool. So not only was I making money off the dividend stocks, I was able to pay off my time, not pay off, but pay my timeshare thing every quarter with it. So all that being said, as you are building up these assets, right? As you're building up these cash flow assets, the more the expenses that you have, expenses that you have, if they're 4K, you build them up to 4, 5, 6K, and at 6K you're netting $2,000 every month after expenses and everything. You can use some of that for your family. You can use some of that for your family. You can use some of that for putting it back into the investments that you have, the houses that you have, and so on. And what happens through this is you're creating a hedge of security, of financial security around your family and around your business. Okay, this is something that's super, super important that a lot of people don't focus on in Amazon. You have to use, sure, if you have a private label business, put more money into product, but at the same time, if you physically can't put more money into product because things aren't selling as fast or whatever, start putting them into cash flow assets like this. If you're making an extra $5,000 a month, wait 4 months and then buy some promissory notes. I'm not telling you how to do it. This is, like I said, this is not financial advice. This is not like this. I am not a financial advisor. I am not a CPA. I'm not any of those things. So this is all my opinion. But you can use these. In my opinion, you can use these vehicles as means to hedge against those times when you don't have the cash flow coming in. If Amazon suspends you, or one of your customers, I had a customer who I do consulting with, who really wasn't using me, even though I was trying to give him advice on how to market certain things. I was with this customer for over a year, and out of the blue, he just said, which I don't blame him because I wasn't giving him any value. He was like, "Hey, okay, we're going to end our relationship, just out of the blue, boom." And that was, $3,000 a month that was gone. But did I care? No, because I have all of this other stuff that's going on. I have my cash flow investments. No matter what, I'm offset. Everything is offsetting each other. So if one of my houses doesn't do well, I had a house in Florida that a hurricane almost took out, and luckily it didn't. But I paid for boarding of the windows. I paid for trimming of a tree that was really close to the wires after the hurricane. And did it matter to me that I lost probably about $600 off of that? No, because I had other houses that were offsetting it, and I had other things from my business that were offsetting it. So Amazon could suspend me right now, and it's not that big of a deal. Okay, Amazon could suspend me right now, and it's not that big of a deal. So cash flow, in my opinion, and knowing how to do it, and if you want. You can always reach out to me, and I can show you where I can introduce you to who I get my houses from. I can introduce you to other things. But cash flow, and this is why I love dropshipping, by the way, so much, is because it's more like cash flow. It's more of an asset than anything. Cash flow equals security. If you want to be secure with your family, focus on the cash flow. Okay, So yeah, that's pretty much it. If you want to learn how to do dropshipping, which to me is a cash flow asset, go to dreamdropshipping.com. And let me circle that. If you want more information about real estate, if you want to know more, if you want me to introduce you to who I get my real estate from, it's awesome. I literally don't have to do anything. They do everything. And I just collect checks, which is good. Then let me know, and I'll introduce you. If you go to dreamdropshipping.com and you opt in to get our checklist, our Dream Dropshipping checklist, just respond to the email. If you reply to the email and ask, you can that'll go straight to me, and then I'll introduce you to my guy. Generally, like I said, you're going to be looking at, for these cash flow assets, you're going to be looking at around $20,000 to $25,000, maybe $30,000 for each one, but they're going to generate you long-term income over time. The Dream Dropshipping course, if you do not sell on Amazon at all right now, if you don't do anything, Dream Dropshipping is a great way to start. There's a free checklist that really shows you how to get started on it for free. And then if you want to buy the course, you can get the course. It's not that expensive usually when we have it on sale. We only open it up every now and then. But yeah, cash flow equals security. So dreamdropshipping.com, go there. You can reply to the email after you get the checklist and let me know if you need, if you want to know more about the real estate stuff. I can introduce you to my supplier. But that's it, guys. If you found this interesting, I can dive into more. Please leave a comment and let me know, and I will dive into a lot more of this stuff if you find this interesting. So all that being said, Dean Soto of the Online Empire Academy, and we will see you in the next video. Talk later. See ya.